Everything has soy nowadays. It's a mix. You know how many eggs I have in my fridge?
I'm just going to read this out for you. Products like eggs or milk contain high estrogen levels. I'm sorry, darling. I thought that estrogen was the problem. I thought that the problem with soy was that it contains all this phytoestrogen. You know what contains shitloads of estrogen? Eggs. Hello, lovely people. My name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. Let's talk about soy. I really thought that the soy conspiracy had died out with Alex Jones's meager credibility, but apparently not. Apparently it's still spreading around in 2022. We're gonna take a look at a video on this channel, and I cannot decide. I have a strong suspicion that this creator is a troll. I'm gonna generalize a bit and probably upset somebody, but I'm just gonna say it because it's true. The majority of people in the incel manosphere, especially the people who are very active online, the majority of those people are young. They're kids and teens, especially the ones that use all the funny internet memes, the hardcore sexist memes, and it's because they're just trying to be edgy. They're living in this little echo chamber, trying to show off by being the most stupid, the most sexist. And this channel is run by an adult man who is, and you know, I'm a grown-up, we all love a meme. I just get the vibe from looking at this channel that it's a troll. I hope it is. Either way, it's spreading stupid misinformation, so might as well use it as an opportunity to debunk the ridiculous soy conspiracy. Hello lovely people, future Emma and Jasper here. Before I let the chadliest conspiracy theorist in the world take you on a weird ride, we would love to talk to you for a moment about the environment with today's sponsor. As much as we love and care for our environment, sometimes the climate news can really bring us down. That's why Jasper and I support Wren, to help fund real climate solutions. Wren understands that systemic change is key to making a real difference. By supporting Wren, you fund several climate solutions, including tree planting. Wren uses satellite technology to detect deforestation in real time, allowing them to tackle the issue before significant forest is lost. Deforestation is responsible for 10% of global emissions and biodiversity issues, so it's important to protect our tree friends and reforest wherever we can. Policy change. Your Wren subscription helps fund the Clean Air Task Force, one of the world's most effective climate advocacy groups with a focus on decarbonising the global energy system. Clean Air Task Force has a team of hundreds of scientists, engineers, MBAs, policy experts and more, all over the world, pushing for real change in climate policy and awareness. As individuals, we can only do so much, but by supporting large-scale projects, political advocacy and new technology, we really can make a difference. Please consider supporting the environment by supporting Wren. The first 100 people to sign up using my link down below will have 10 extra trees planted in their name. I will also leave links to the Clean Air Task Force and some of the really cool projects that Wren is supporting right now, so you can read all about them. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Wren for sponsoring this video. So the channel that I'm looking at is quite small. I don't want to name it. I know some people get a bit upset if I don't link to an original video. Sometimes I do, and the video is deleted by the time my video comes out. A lot of the time I don't. The reasons are several-fold. 1, much smaller channel, don't want to inadvertently send a hate train their way. 2, like I said, I am pretty sure that this is a troll, and we don't want to feed the trolls. 3, I don't ever want to promote by linking to a channel that shares hateful stuff. I don't want to be like, here, go and click on this channel, it's really sexist, give it more views and subscribers and stuff. Like, don't do that. So that's why. But this gentleman is all about red pill. I mean, he's got a video that's like, forget the red pill, take the war pill. So I guess he's hardcore. If it's honest, the videos all have like the troll face and all the like lonely guy, Chad memes. It's super cringy. His thing seems to basically be, I turn myself into a Chad, here's how you can do the same. So anyway, he has a recent video all about soy. So we're gonna talk about it. And it'll give me the chance to debunk some stupid conspiracy claims. So, hooray. Lucky us. Here we are. We need to talk about soy.
Another one. Another one.
What's up, boy?
See, I don't even, like, that's cringy, right? That feels like very, hello fellow kids. There wasn't even anything funny happening. He was just clapping as he started the video. Maybe I'm just old.
Boys. Well, today, a topic...
Why was there I don't understand. All he said was sup, boys. Is that the sign that he's a troll? Just putting the troll face on his face? Is that the, like, if you know, you know, this video is not serious? Quite like his glasses.
That is very near and dear to my heart, because I hate soy.
But that's simply not possible.
Let's eliminate soy out of everyone's diet. No, we need soy. Oh, whoa.
Why isn't it possible?
It's just not.
Why not, you stupid bastard?
But I hate soy. And I became aware of soy roughly a year ago, when I started to actually like doing my channel, my Instagram, and I started looking up to these things I wanted to talk about, because I was talking about masculinity. So I was talking about
That was quite funny. That was quite funny.
soy. And I researched soy, and goddamn, like, it's the devil.
But it's weird how often this red pill coincides with Christianity, isn't it? Just from when I used to peruse the incel forums. Very prevalent. I guess the biblical idea of masculinity and femininity maybe ties in. 100% no from the start that he's been researching with heavy bias. Because there have been, like, and we'll talk about this in more detail when he goes into some actual claims. Unless he doesn't, and then I guess we'll just talk about it anyway. But basically there were like 1 or 2 isolated studies that suggested that phytoestrogen in soy could have an effect on male breast tissue or something like that. The majority of studies, including those, like analyses including those studies, other studies produce absolutely zero impact, no connection. Because there's no way to not know that if you're researching broadly, if you're looking at different sources. I assume he must be researching within, like, red pill websites. Or, you know, right-wing media, Alex Jones stuff, whatever. Because otherwise you would know that this isn't true. It's a very, very quickly debunked conspiracy if you're willing to actually look into it.
And let's understand why. Well,
please.
Some people think it's a theory, that it's not real, that soy...
We need some kind of, like, jingle theme song pop up something for every time somebody uses air quotes inappropriately, because it drives me fucking insane. I think what he means is some people think it's a conspiracy theory and that it's not true, and those people are me, and I hate to tell you, I'm right. Very rarely do I get to say that so overtly. I'm right and you're wrong, but I can comfortably say it in this instance. It feels kind of good, actually. I get why people like it.
It's not bad for you, but the science shows otherwise. So here I have 3 studies.
It does not. It does not. Let's see what he's gonna say, but he's wrong.
I will link them in the description and I will put them on the screen, thanks to my editor. So the first study...
This guy has an editor? Maybe it's like a friend. Maybe they do it together.
Here shows that soy is more estrogenic than estrogen itself. And for those who don't know what estrogen is the...
It's phytoestrogen that's in soybeans, that's in soy products. It's not estrogen, it's phytoestrogen. That is true. A lot of soy stuff contains quite high levels, significantly high levels of phytoestrogen. That is a fact.
Who don't know what estrogen is the female hormone that gives females...
I feel like anyone with an interest in this topic will already know all this stuff, but this guy is missing such a fundamental, basic understanding that I'm just gonna treat it as it is, and we're gonna go over the basics. Estrogen is responsible for the development of a healthy female body. Men produce estrogen as well, just like women produce testosterone. Again, we're talking about phytoestrogen, which is a plant-based hormone that mimics estrogen in the human body.
Well, it's in part is responsible for giving females their, female appearance. In men, estrogen in high values is not, good for you, is it? In another
That was too many cringy Reddit meme faces for me to appreciate. Now that we know he's got an editor, maybe it's his editor that is maximum cringe. Maybe his editor is a teenage incel Redditor. That would explain it, right?
Another study here, they fed rats.
Basically what we've got so far is there is phytoestrogen in plants, and phytoestrogen can basically mimic estrogen in the human body.
In another study here, they fed rats with soy, the same soy they use in the Impossible burgers, and what happened?
That was a big part of this conspiracy. It kind of like really kicked off with Burger King making a soy-based burger, because a researcher put this really well in a source that I will link for you. There is this association in a lot of cultures with like men and masculinity and meat and burgers, and therefore Burger King. So I feel like a lot of like people who maybe have a slightly fragile view of themselves, where stuff like eating meat is important to their identity as a masculine person, they kind of kicked off at this, meat-free burger. It's a very funny thing.
The rats gained weight, so they became fatter and their testosterone levels went down. Another study showed how soy...
The Impossible Burger, okay. Well, this says transient decrease in body weight gain. So did their body weight go up or down? He just said that they got fatter. Increase in food consumption without weight gain. Now I'm just confused. I'll be honest, I'm a little confused, because the main thing he said was that their testosterone levels lowered and they gained weight. And I don't see that. It doesn't even mention testosterone here either. It says that they lost weight and that they were eating more without weight gain. All these effects were dismissed as non-averse, as having no toxicological relevance, as transient on the grounds that they appeared to reverse themselves after some days, and as not dependent on the dose, i.e. the effect did not increase with the increasing dose. So that study doesn't really help us very much. It was done on rats, and studies done on animals might not be applicable to humans, because humans aren't rats. That's an obvious thing. Increased dosage didn't increase the effects, and the effects reversed themselves after a few days. They didn't gain weight. There was nothing mentioned about testosterone. Like, I'm wondering if I'm reading, like he linked the wrong study or something? I'm just very confused, because what he said and what he linked say completely opposite things.
You can alter reproductive hormones.
Here we go. Soy, phytoestrogens, and male reproductive function. A review. Let's have a look at this one. Oh my gosh, I nearly clicked on his Discord by mistake. This is the conclusion of the study he's just mentioned and shown on the screen. Exposure to endocrine disruptors during critical periods of reproductive development increases the incidence of reproductive disorders. Given the popularity of soy-based blah 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 blah, a better understanding of the influence of phytoestrogens on male development is needed. Overall, there are some indications that phytoestrogens, alone or in combination with other endocrine disruptors, may alter reproductive hormones, spermatogenesis, sperm capacitation, and fertility. That's the word I struggle with. Fertility. In that fucking sentence. However, these results must be interpreted with care as a result of the paucity of human studies, and as numerous reports did not reveal any adverse effects on male reproductive physiology. Further investigation is needed before a firm conclusion can be drawn. This entire study that he's using as evidence is basically what I mentioned earlier, an analysis that collects various different studies and shows that the results vary wildly. And again, it's on rodents, and I think there might be some on primates in this one. Results really vary. We don't have a very good specific way of studying it because there are different types of phytoestrogens, etc. We need to study it more and develop the tests that we use for these. And interpret it with care, because lots of studies show absolutely no effect of or absolutely no link between phytoestrogen and male reproductive issues. He's basically shared a study that debunks his own bullshit. This is why I think he's either a troll or just really lazy. Like, it's lazy clickbait. He's just, looked for a study that says soy may do something and then slammed it in there without even reading it because it doesn't even support his claims. If he wanted to, he could easily have said, I don't think soy is a good idea. I don't think we should be consuming so much soy because some studies suggest there might be links and we need to investigate it further. If he had said that and stopped there, then it would have been perfectly fine, and it would have been in line with this research that he had read. But no, soy is the devil, and it's being pushed as a big conspiracy, and it's all evil, and he'll never have any again. Bet that's not true.
Spermatogenesis, sperm capacity, and fertility. So, this
Stopped before the bit where it says, however, further study is needed, as most studies show no link. Even though he showed it on the screen. Editor's not paying attention. Teen incel editor, not working hard enough.
these 3 studies alone should be enough for you to,
These 3 studies alone, I'm sorry. One you got completely wrong. One you basically said the opposite of the results that it had. One, what was the other? I missed him mentioning the other one, so I guess it must be this one. Maternal genistein exposure mimics the effects of estrogen on mammary gland development in female mouse offspring. Human and animal data indicate that a high maternal estrogen exposure during pregnancy increases breast cancer risk among daughters. Some phytoestrogens, such as genistein, which is a major component in soy-based foods, pregnant mice were injected daily. They all increase the density of TEBs in the mammary glands. None of the treatments had permanent effects on circulating E2 levels. Maternal exposure to E2 accelerated body weight gain, physical maturation, and puberty onset in the female offspring. These findings indicate that maternal exposure to physiological doses of genistein mimics the effects of E2 on the mammary gland and reproductive systems in the offspring. Basically, TLDR, this study found that giving pregnant mice this specific phytoestrogen caused increased or earlier development in certain reproductive things in the daughter offspring of the mouse. Essentially, that particular phytoestrogen, I'm not going to say it, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it, but the particular one in that study was mimicking estrogen in utero. The basic conclusion we get from that study is we should study that further, and in the meantime, probably don't feed soy to your pregnant mouse. So, that's good to know. Maybe this guy's big into keeping rodents. I don't know. It's understanding to hear that kind of thing, to be told that kind of thing in a scary, conspiratorial kind of way, and to be frightened, Oh, maybe this will cause reproductive issues in pregnant humans as well. It was mice. B, it was specifically pregnant mice. C, they were given large doses of this specific phytoestrogen daily. That is very, very different from a human having a soy-based burger one time. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to catastrophize. It's an interesting thing to study. Soy is kind of put on this weird pedestal as though it's worse than any of those normal things, like drinking a glass of wine. Soy is this it's going to kill us all and overnight we'll turn into women, which is just a crazy, crazy exaggeration of the truth, which is that in some studies it's found to have some effects on rodents.
Be concerned of what soy can do to your body, but let's see what it does to your testosterone. Because as a male, as an average man, I assume you want to have optimal testosterone levels, to grow more.
I guess I do want to have optimum testosterone levels. It'd just be a different level for me than for him, I suppose.
Muscle mass, to be able to grow a beard, to, have male pattern.
Why do you need to grow a beard? I don't understand. Yes, I understand that, every human being wants to have the appropriate levels of hormones to develop normally. I don't really understand how having a beard factors into, how healthy you are, how you live your life. Look at his face.
But essentially to be a man. And
to be a man.
What soy does is, because it acts like an estrogen, it will actually make your testosterone levels not only go down, but it also will make you look more like a female.
I don't know who that was. That's pretty rude to include a random picture of a person in your description of you don't want to end up like this. I hate when creators do that. Really fucking annoys me. Maybe he is just a really immature adult man because he's behaving like the teenagers on the incel forums, It is about being the edgiest and that's not clever. That's just being a dick. I'm going to share this analysis. I thought it was really good. It's really well written. It's a massive, expansive analysis of various clinical studies on soy and phytoestrogens and the effects they have on the human body, hormones, etc., or the mouse body, depending on the study. The main highlight is this: no effects of soy on testosterone or estrogen levels in men were noted. Regardless of the statistical model, no significant effects of soy protein intake on any of the outcomes measured were found. Sub-analysis of the data according to dose and study duration also showed no effect. Given that the current analysis includes 41 studies and 1,753 men, it is unlikely that additional research will alter this conclusion. Evidence indicates that testosterone levels can change very quickly, so it is unlikely that longer studies will produce different results. Importantly, none of the 4 longer-term studies in this analysis found a statistically significant effect on testosterone levels. A meta-analysis published in 2009 found no effect on estrogen levels in pre- or postmenopausal women. 1 year later, a narrative review based on 9 studies concluded there was no effect of exposure on estrogen levels in men. It should be emphasized that the lack of effect of soy intake on these reproductive hormones in men does not necessarily mean that soy intake does not exert any hormonal effects. They could exert biological effects independently of effects on hormone levels. However, clinically relevant endpoints can therefore also inform about the possible impact of soy related to the effects of reproductive hormones. In this regard, it is notable that clinical studies show no effect of soy on sperm and semen parameters, and soy protein supplementation leads to similar gains in muscle mass and strength, if that is what you're into, among men engaged in resistance training as animal protein. Extensive clinical data published over the last 2 decades shows that, in men, neither soy nor isoflavone intake, even when exposure occurs for an extended period of time and exceeds traditional Japanese intake, Asian countries have a lot more soy in their diet, typically, affects levels of total testosterone, free testosterone, estradiol or estrone. I'm sure I pronounced some of that wrong. The long and short is, there are scattered bits of isolated data that could suggest that soy phytoestrogen could have such and such effect on mice or rats or whatever, potentially. Repeated analysis of 2 decades of study shows no correlation between effects on testosterone in men and phytoestrogen. Just none. It just doesn't happen. I'm really glad that that study also included the fact that it made no difference in the gaining of muscle mass compared with consuming meat proteins. You can still get absolutely ripped if you're having plant-based foods. So good.
You know, that's why guys read a lot of soy. The soy boys usually have bitch tits. That's why usually their voice is lower. Not lower.
Higher soy.
Then
Why did he said we'll be right back and then nothing happened, he's just immediately back. That was like he was going to cut to an ad break. It's just too fucking memey. This is so immature and, like, cringy. I hate it. Having soy isn't going to affect any of those things that he's just said. It's not going to make your voice higher. It's not going to give you bitch tits. Soy products don't affect breast tissue in men. The biggest, most obvious piece of evidence that for some reason these guys seem to ignore is that most Asian countries have a way, way higher soy intake than other countries. The men don't all have bitch tits. Here's some info from another study. In one randomized trial, men took high doses of soy phytoestrogen every day for 3 months. Again, it's a lot more than you would ever have naturally. They saw no change in their amount of breast tissue. They did, however, show improvements in some markers of metabolic health, including blood sugar and markers of inflammation. Only positive effects. It also mentions Asian countries have long consumed soy-rich diets. They do not have development of breast tissue at especially high rates. If anything, diabetes, heart disease, and many cancers tend to be low compared to those in the US. It also makes a point that the main contributor to bitch tits would be fatty tissue, which would be more related to you consuming the fast food in general, to you having the Burger King burger, than the fact that the Burger King burger has soy in it. At least we got to hear the phrase bitch tits.
Normal males, and that's why they, for all intents and purposes, act like a woman. This pisses me off. Why? Because people dismiss this completely, but soy is in everything. Like, go to the supermarket right now. Go to any supermarket.
Yes, soy is in a lot of stuff. I bet you consume soy, and you're still manly Giga Chad. Like, because it doesn't matter.
Grab something from the shelf, look at the ingredients there, right? And it will say may contain soy, or contain soy to an extent, or soy is just literally one of the ingredients in it. I could show you an example right now. I have here in my kitchen. My fiance went to do the grocery shopping. She bought some nuggets. She didn't read the package or what was in it, and literally...
Oh my god, she has to look out. His fiance has to look out for soy when she does the food shopping. That's so... And this guy must be so fucking irritating to live with. I really hope this is a troll. I hope he's a super trolly guy.
Literally chicken meat nuggets have soy. Well, it's processed meat anyway, so I wouldn't go near it, but it has soy. Bread.
Why did your partner buy it if you wouldn't even go near it? I feel like he's lying about his food intake. I just don't think anyone can be that strict about their diet unless they're, like, wealthy. Unless they're, like, super well. Do you know what I mean? I don't think many people are that crazy strict about their diet, because you are kind of limited to what is in your supermarket.
You buy in the supermarket, funnily enough, has soy. Things you wouldn't even think about have soy. Like tuna, canned tuna, usually in Portugal now, is canned in soy oil. Isn't that something absolutely retarded?
Ooh, ableist language. Ableist language with a cringy offensive meme to go with it. Do you see what I mean when I say it's like that immature just trying to be funny and cool by being as edgy as possible? Like you're 13? It's so cringe. And the way that he makes himself smile every time he says something offensive, like, haha, I'm funny.
Everything has soy nowadays. And if you're a kid, your favorite chips, your favorite cookies, all of them have soy. Go ahead. If you think I'm lying, get off your ass, go to your kitchen.
But isn't that the fact that everything in the world has soy? I don't know how true that is, but whatever. The fact that so much stuff that you eat every day has soy in it, doesn't that prove that it's not a problem? It's not like the majority of men are having regular doctor's appointments to discuss their, low testosterone levels. It's not an issue. The majority of men don't have an issue with hormone-related breast growth. And yet we're consuming all of this soy, so clearly it's fine. What an idiot.
Look at the ingredients in the boxes and say, well, Troutwest is right, this does have soy.
Yeah, it does have soy. But I've been eating this my whole life, and I'm fine, so I guess he's wrong about the effects. Or he's, like, fear-mongering in vague terms with, like, a study on what happens to a pregnant mouse when they get injected with high levels of phytoestrogen every day.
You don't want soy. Soy has a bunch of dangers. Soy is bad for you. Like,
we already looked at the positive effects of high levels of soy. The reason soy is so popular, the reason it is everywhere is because it is a really, really good protein. It's a really high quality protein. It can help lower your cholesterol. It may reduce the risk of certain heart conditions, cancers. Here's the thing about soy and why it is so prevalent, especially in vegetarian and vegan circles. It's because it contains all the essential amino acids that most plant proteins don't. So it has most of the essentials that you get from meat that a lot of other plant-based foods don't, which is really, really good. It's high in fibre, it's high in protein, it's cholesterol-free, it's lactose-free, it's got a lot of antioxidants. Yes, it is high in phytoestrogen, but studies suggest that has medical benefits.
Right here in this phone. Some dangers of soy. And you can Google this, go see whatever you want, but look, it suppresses thyroid function. It disrupts your endocrine system, reduces sperm count, reduces testosterone level.
We've looked at sperm count and testosterone level. I'll have to look at the other ones, but those two we know that's not true.
Levels. Causes cognitive impairment. Highly estrogenic and leads to estrogen-dependent tumors. High levels of aluminium. Increases vitamin D and B12 needs.
How much of this is based on a normal diet, and how much of this is a mouse was injected with extremely high amounts every single day for 3 months? Collectively, the findings provide little evidence that soy foods or isoflavones adversely affect thyroid function. Hypothyroid adults need not avoid soy foods. In addition, there remains a theoretical concern based on in vitro and animal data that in individuals with compromised thyroid function and or whose iodine intake is marginal, soy foods may increase risk of developing clinical hypothyroidism. Therefore, it's important for soy food consumers to make sure their intake of iodine is adequate. He's isolated like one data point from a study that shows the opposite of what he's saying. There's a chance, some evidence suggests, that it might be a problem if you don't have the appropriate iodine intake. This must be some kind of right-wing, red pill, fear-based blog or something that he's getting, because it's just a list of the potential side effects, again, that could be like one data point in one study. It's not the result of a study, because all the studies suggest that there is no link, but there might be an issue on one or two of these things that might relate to something. Do you know what I mean? It's like a really, really misleading way of compiling information. I'm gonna look for the cognitive impairment thing now.
Triple kill!
A higher intake of soybean was associated with better cognitive function. Studies are scarce and provide contradictory results. Here's a systematic review and meta-analysis of controlled trials again. These are really, really good because they take loads and loads of studies into account. Soy isoflavones may improve cognitive function in adults. The majority of studies suggest a positive link, suggest that soybeans or soy products improve cognitive function. The ones where there is a negative link are specifically using tofu, and it might not be the soy, or it might be the way the soy interacts with something else in the food, etc, etc, etc. It's just all presented in such a misleading way.
Makes you look like a bitch too.
First off, fuck your bitch in the click.
Ha 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 ha. This guy really thinks he's funny. That is the worst thing.
So, unless you want to look like a bitch, stop eating it. Go eat something else, right? What's the alternative?
He just said that it's in everything. He's acting like if you drop soy from your diet and just start hardcore eating red meat all the time or something, you'll like become a Chad. Like it'll have this huge impact on your life in some way.
Eat some meat, eat some eggs. You know how many eggs I have in my fridge? I could show you right now. I'll just put a picture right here. I have about 50 eggs in my fridge.
That wasn't 50 eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Those 50 eggs last usually a week. Because I eat eggs like a motherfucker. My fiance eats eggs like a crazy one. And
I'm just going to read this out for you. Products like eggs or milk contain high estrogen levels because they are produced in parts of the animal's body that regulates its hormones. I'm sorry, darling. I thought that estrogen was the problem. I thought that the problem with soy was that it contains all this phytoestrogen. You know what contains shitloads of estrogen? Eggs.
Meat. It's a tiny fridge as well. It's filled with meat, filled with eggs. I'm not going near that stuff, you know? And it is like a sacrifice that you need to do, because you're gonna have to stop eating all your favorite cookies, your favorite fries, bread from the supermarket.
This is such a, self-fulfilling prophecy. He's basically trying to claim that cutting soy out of your diet improves your health, improves your manliness, reduces your risk of, having breasts here or whatever. And what he's actually doing is cutting junk food out of his diet. He's cutting out junk food and fast food and just, I presume he's doing some kind of strength training or some sort of, he'll be doing some kind of gym stuff. Because this type of guy, you can't get them away from the gym, especially the mirrors. But it's like, fucking duh, if you take all of the fast food and junk food out of your diet, and you're just having, fresh fruits and veg and protein, etc., you're gonna be healthier. You're not gonna have so much fatty tissue. Duh! It's nothing to do with soy. But you can claim a link because you've done the two things. Correlation doesn't equal causation.
Your chips, sweets, because
all unhealthy things. Everything he listed, unhealthy junk food. If you stop eating sweets and crisps, you'll be healthier. Also, no, never. I have a packet of Pom Bears ready for finishing this video. Fuck you. Life is too short to deny yourself the pleasure of crisps.
all of them have soy, and you'll be weaker if you keep eating those. Sodas, all of them have soy. So society has a problem with soy, and nobody's biting an eye. why the fuck? So,
Nobody's batting an eye because the majority of... because A, fair play to you, it is something that has not been studied enough in enough detail, probably. But the majority of studies and trials and everything shows there is no link between soy products and testosterone levels. Soy products and health risks. The most dominant effects across those studies, and again it's not clear whether those are strictly linked, but the most dominant effects noticed are health benefits. That's why nobody bats an eye.
do something for yourself. Listen to Trad Daddy here and stop eating soy, kids.
I think I might die from cringe exposure. He's acting like the Uber Chad, and he's here to teach you how to be like him. And his advice is, like, stupidly obvious. If you take away the soy thing, it's like, yeah, stop eating junk food, fast food, and you will be healthier and happier, probably. Like, fucking duh. What a clown. Well, that was unbearably cringy. Thank you so much for joining me for that cringe fest. I know I've said the word cringe like 5,000 times in this episode, but I can't help it. There's no other way to describe what's happening here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will leave a link down below to all the sources I used. I will leave a link to the sources he used as well so you can read those studies, because they're legitimate studies, and it would be interesting for you to read them and see how he's misinterpreted and cherry-picked the data. If you enjoyed this video, do leave a cheeky like, leave a little comment down below. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Before we go, I would like to give a big shout out and a thank you to my giant chickens over on Patreon. Have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.